Let me ask you something simple. If you could protect your heart, lower your blood sugar, and even slow down memory loss just by changing what's on your plate, would you do it? Most of us don't think about food that way. We think about weight, we think about calories, we think about taste. But what if food could be medicine? Not just to fix a problem, but to prevent one? I'm not talking about a trendy new diet. I'm talking about something that's been quietly working for generations. In small villages across Italy, Greece, and even parts of North Africa. It's called the Mediterranean diet, and it's not really a diet. It's a way of living, a way of eating that's been studied for decades by researchers at Harvard, by heart doctors, and even brain specialists. Here's why I care. My grandfather was sharp until his early 70s. Then came the forgetfulness. Then came the confusion. And eventually, the heartbreak of watching someone you love disappear in front of your eyes. That's why, when I saw new research showing how this style of eating could help reduce the risk of Alzheimer's, even in people with the gene, I had to dig deeper. Because maybe you've wondered the same thing I did. Is it too late to change how I eat? And the answer, thankfully, is no. If you're curious, if you want to feel better, think clearer, and maybe even live longer, then keep watching. This isn't a video about giving up everything you love. It's about eating in a way that actually loves you back. So, what exactly is the Mediterranean diet? It's not a meal plan. It's not a book with rules or a list of forbidden foods. And it's definitely not about starving yourself just to lose 5 pounds. The Mediterranean diet is a way of eating that reflects how people have eaten for generations. In countries like Greece, Italy, southern France, and parts of North Africa. These are people who, despite modest incomes, often live longer and have fewer cases of heart disease, diabetes, and dementia. Why? Well, researchers believe it starts with what's on the table and who's around it. Picture a meal made mostly of vegetables, whole grains, beans, a drizzle of olive oil, maybe a handful of nuts, and some fresh herbs. Fish or chicken a few times a week. Wine, if any, in small amounts and always with company. And most importantly, meals are eaten slowly, together, without a phone in sight. Now compare that to how most Americans eat: ultra-processed snacks, sugary drinks, lots of red meat, and eating alone, often in a rush. See the difference? The Mediterranean diet isn't about perfection. It's about patterns. What you eat most of the time is what matters. And what makes it so powerful is this. It's not just based on tradition. It's backed by science. Harvard researchers, cardiologists, and nutrition scientists have studied it for decades. And time and again, they find that people who follow this style of eating tend to live longer, feel better, and stay sharper. So, if you've been overwhelmed by strict diets or burned out by counting calories, this might feel like a breath of fresh air. Because instead of focusing on restriction, you focus on nourishment. And that's a change worth making. Let's be honest. Most of us don't come to a new way of eating because we want to protect our memory. We come because we want to lose weight. We want to feel lighter, move easier, maybe even fit into that old pair of jeans again. So the question is, can the Mediterranean diet actually help you lose weight? Not in the way most diets promise. There's no fat-burning magic, no drop 10 pounds in 10 days nonsense. But here's what is true. A major review of clinical studies found that people who follow the Mediterranean diet lost an average of 3.9 kilograms. That's over 8 pounds, when they also added some light exercise and made small calorie adjustments. Even without counting calories, many still lost around 1.75 kilograms simply by changing the quality of their food. Less processed, more plants, better fats. And let's not forget, the kind of weight that stays off is usually the kind that comes off slowly, Because this diet doesn't rely on extremes. You're not cutting out entire food groups or skipping meals. You're just shifting the foundation of what you eat day by day. There's a reason someone in the comments of our last video said, "I lost 25 pounds this year just by cutting sugar and snacks, but now I'm stuck. So I think I'll try this diet too." That's what makes the Mediterranean style so different. It's not about pushing harder, it's about eating smarter. Instead of chasing short-term weight loss, you're building long-term health. And for many people over 60, that's exactly what they want. To feel good, not just look good. To eat well, not just eat less. So yes, weight loss is possible. But even better, it comes as a side effect of treating your body with care. Maybe you're not trying to lose weight. Maybe your doctor just told you your blood pressure is creeping up, or your A1C is getting too close for comfort. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of Americans over 60 are managing high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or both. And for many, the first thing they hear is, "You need to eat better." But what does that really mean? Here's where the Mediterranean diet steps in. Not as a trend, but as a practical, proven approach. A large 2024 meta-analysis looks specifically at people with type 2 diabetes who switched to this style of eating. The results? Their systolic blood pressure dropped by about 4 points. Their blood sugar, HbA1c, fell by nearly 0.5%. They lost weight, about 0.7 BMI points on average, and perhaps most telling of all, their waist size shrank by over 1.5 centimeters. That might not sound like much, but even a small reduction in abdominal fat can lower your risk of heart disease and stroke significantly. Why does this work? Because this isn't about slashing carbs or demonizing fat. It's about choosing the right carbs, like whole grains and beans, and the right fats, like olive oil and nuts. Instead of soda, you sip water or herbal tea. Instead of fried food, you try grilled fish or roasted vegetables. Instead of cutting things out entirely, you crowd your plate with better options. And that makes it easier to stick with, especially if you're someone who's tired of bouncing between diets or managing 5 different medications. You need something sustainable, something that supports your health without making you miserable. That's the power of the Mediterranean diet. It doesn't just promise better numbers. It helps you live better while improving them. And that's the kind of prescription most of us can follow. Let's talk about something that scares a lot of us more than gaining weight or high blood pressure. Memory loss. It starts small, misplacing your keys, forgetting names. But over time, it can turn into something much harder: confusion, disorientation, and the slow loss of who you are. For many people over 60, Alzheimer's disease feels like a shadow on the horizon, especially if a parent or grandparent faced it. So here's the question: can the way we eat help protect our brain? New research from Harvard and Mass General Brigham says, yes, it might. In a long-term study tracking over 5,700 people across 3 decades, scientists found something remarkable. Even individuals who carry the APOE4 gene, one of the strongest genetic risk factors for Alzheimer's, were able to lower their risk if they closely followed a Mediterranean-style diet. Not eliminate the risk, but delay it, slow it down, and in the world of cognitive decline, even slowing it by a few years can change everything for you and your family. So what exactly in the Mediterranean diet helps? The antioxidants in berries, leafy greens, and olive oil, the omega-3 fats in fish and walnuts, the fiber that supports gut health and may reduce inflammation that affects the brain. It's not about one magic food, it's about the pattern, day after day, year after year. And the beauty is, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. So if you've ever wondered, is it too late for me? Let me say this clearly. No, it's not. Every meal is a chance to feed your brain better. Every bite is an opportunity to protect the person you are and the memories you hold dear. And that, to me, is more powerful than any pill. You might be wondering, what exactly does a Mediterranean diet look like? Do you have to eat fish every day? Is pasta off the table? And what if you don't do well with dairy? Let's break it down. At the heart of this diet are simple whole foods. Fresh vegetables like spinach, tomatoes, and bell peppers. Fruits like berries, oranges, and apples. Whole grains. Think brown rice, quinoa, barley. Legumes such as lentils and chickpeas. Healthy fats from olive oil, nuts, and seeds. Fish is recommended a couple times a week, especially oily fish like salmon or sardines, which are rich in brain-boosting omega-3s. But if you don't like fish, don't worry. You can still benefit by including other lean proteins like beans, eggs, or skinless chicken. Dairy, it's included but in moderation. A little plain yogurt or some cheese here and there is fine, but if dairy triggers mucus or digestive trouble, as many people mentioned in the comments, skip it. There's nothing in this diet that says you must eat dairy to be healthy. And pasta? Surprisingly, yes, it can stay. But in Mediterranean cultures, pasta is often served as a side, not the star. Smaller portions, balanced with vegetables and healthy fats. So instead of a giant plate of spaghetti with cream sauce, you might have a modest serving tossed with olive oil, garlic, and roasted veggies. What you avoid are ultra-processed foods, packaged snacks, sugary cereals, sweetened drinks, frozen meals full of additives. The beauty here? You don't need to count calories or eliminate entire food groups. You just shift the balance toward real food, eaten with intention. And yes, it can taste amazing. One of the biggest concerns people have about healthy eating is cost. And it's a fair concern, especially for those on fixed incomes or tight grocery budgets. But here's the truth. The Mediterranean diet doesn't have to be expensive. You don't need fancy salmon fillets or organic greens from a boutique market. You don't need imported olive oil from Italy or $10 bottles of spice blends. In fact, some of the most powerful ingredients in this diet are also the most affordable. Canned beans, frozen vegetables, brown rice, lentils, wild-caught canned salmon, just a few dollars for several servings. These are pantry staples that last, stretch across multiple meals, and still deliver the fiber, vitamins, and healthy fats your body needs. Instead of buying pre-made meals, you can batch cook simple dishes like vegetable soup, bean stews, or roasted trays of mixed veggies and whole grains. Cook once, eat for days. One commenter shared they shop at Aldi and pick up canned wild salmon for around $3 a can. Enough for 4 meals. It's not about eating gourmet, it's about eating smart. Swapping what you can, when you can. Choosing real food over packaged food, and making meals at home, even if it's just twice a week. Because eating well shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a right and a joy. Let's talk about something most diets ignore. How you eat, not just what you eat. In Mediterranean cultures, meals aren't rushed. They're not eaten alone in front of a screen. They're shared around the table with family, neighbors, or even strangers who become friends. One commenter said something that really stayed with me. I sadly belong to the 40% of lonely men who doesn't have anybody. That kind of loneliness is more than emotional. It affects your health, your heart, your brain, even your lifespan. And this is where the Mediterranean way of eating offers something more than just nutrients. It offers connection. Maybe you don't have a big family nearby. Maybe you eat alone most days. But you're not powerless. You can start a weekly meal with a friend. Join a local cooking group. Invite a neighbor over for lunch. Or even share a virtual dinner with someone online. Because sharing food, even simple food, can bring comfort, structure, and joy. It turns eating from a task into a ritual. Instead of mindlessly snacking, you look forward to a real meal. Instead of isolation, you build rhythm and relationship. So yes, the Mediterranean diet is about vegetables and olive oil, but just as importantly, it's about people, and for many of us, that might be the healthiest part of all. Before we wrap up, let's clear up a few common questions. Things I saw in the comments, and I know many of you are wondering too. Do I have to drink wine? No. Some people associate red wine with the Mediterranean lifestyle, but it's not required. In fact, recent research shows alcohol has more risks than benefits. If you don't drink now, don't start. And if you do, keep it minimal. One small glass, a few times a week, and always with food. What if I don't like fish? That's okay. Wild fish, especially oily fish like salmon, is a great source of omega-3s. It's not essential. You can get healthy fats from walnuts, flax seeds, or a quality fish oil supplement. You can build a Mediterranean plate with beans, eggs, lentils, or chicken instead. How many eggs can I eat? In moderation, eggs are perfectly fine. One per day is considered safe for most people, even those with heart concerns. They're affordable, versatile, and packed with nutrients. Can I use this diet to gain weight? Yes, if you need to. Just increase portion sizes, add more healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, avocado, and eat regularly. It's still real food, just more of it with intention. This isn't a diet of strict rules. It's a lifestyle built around balance, and that's what makes it so doable. So, where do you go from here? You've heard the science, you've seen the benefits, you've gotten a taste of what the Mediterranean lifestyle really looks like. But here's the truth. None of it matters unless you make a choice. And no, I'm not saying you need to overhaul your entire kitchen or throw out every box of cereal tonight. I'm just inviting you to take one small step. Maybe that's swapping soda for water. Maybe it's adding one more veggie to your dinner plate. Or maybe it's inviting someone over to share a home-cooked meal. Because the power of this way of eating isn't in doing it perfectly. It's in doing it consistently, joyfully, intentionally. And if you've ever told yourself, it's too late for me, I want you to know it's not. Not for your heart, not for your brain, not for the quality of your days or the memories you can still make. You deserve to feel better. You deserve to eat food that nourishes your body and your spirit. And if you've made it this far in the video, I believe you're ready. So here's what I'd love for you to do next. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what's the one change you're going to make this week? And if you want more help getting started, simple recipes, cheap grocery lists, or a 3-day beginner plan, just say the word. I'll make it for you. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, because eating this way is about more than food. It's about reclaiming your health, one meal at a time.